He's a 70-year-old recluse living on a forgotten Scottish island, a man the world passed by decades ago. But when he rescues a young girl from a deadly storm, he accidentally trips a digital tripwire he's been running from for 30 years. Suddenly, the most elite Black Ops agency on the planet knows exactly where their deadliest asset is hiding, and they send a team of mercenaries to finish the job they started a generation ago. They think they're hunting a helpless senior citizen, but they've just walked into the killing floor of a legendary black kite assassin who hasn't forgotten a single way to kill. Jason Statham proves once again why you never mess with an old man still alive in a game where men die young. And we're breaking down every brutal moment of Shelter 2026. Michael Mason is a former government worker, now living alone with his dog in a lighthouse on a small island in Scotland.
What are you looking at?
He drinks heavily, plays chess by himself, and carries a look like he's constantly haunted by his past sins, which keep him awake at night. On occasion, a girl, Jessie, and her uncle drop off supplies for Mason by boat.
Okay, mind your fingers.
This time, Jessie leaves a small gift for him, the stranger she has only ever seen from afar. Just to avoid interacting with them as usual, Mason waits until they have left to collect his parcel, ignoring Jessie's gift. A few weeks later, Jessie and her uncle make another delivery as a storm approaches. Mason hears a knock at the door. It's Jessie with his package, and he warns her not to come back to the lighthouse. She hands him the gift he tossed aside stubbornly, wondering why he's never come down to greet them, but Mason just closes the door in her face. Jessie leaves the gift there. When she gets back to the beach, the storm has already landed, creating massive waves.
Jessie, come on!
Jessie tries to make it back to her uncle. But the waves are too strong, and she gets tossed overboard. In the lighthouse, Mason can't help but look out to sea. There's no sign of Jessie, so instinctively Mason sprints from the house and jumps into his boat, which rolls right out to sea. Meanwhile, Jessie is fighting for her life, her leg trapped in some netting which soon drags her down. Luckily, Mason gets there, dives in, and manages to free Jessie. He drags her unconscious body back to his boat and manages to save her life. Jessie wakes a while later asking for her uncle, and Mason is forced to tell her he died after his boat went down, leaving Jessie in tears. The next morning, Mason checks a foot injury Jessie received during the storm, noting they need to get the swelling down. She has questions. Why hasn't he called the cops? Who else knows they're here? But Mason ignores her, telling her to just rest. Jessie just can't accept this. Why is Mason alone in the lighthouse when it hasn't worked in years? She tells him her family will be looking for her, but Mason knows better. She has no family. Her mother died a few years ago, and she never knew her father. Mason clearly did his research, plus there's nothing here for anyone to come looking. Mason steps out, and right away Jessie starts searching his things until she finds a knife, hiding it under her pillow before Mason returns. That night Jessie has a nightmare, whimpering in her sleep. Mason sits by her bed and she jumps awake, holding the knife at him, but he reassures her it's just a dream. He knows she's scared, then uses the moment to show Jessie how to hold and wield the knife, instructing her never to wield it out of fear. For the next few days, things go along smoothly. Mason helps Jessie around, making them meals, and soon she becomes close with his dog, whom she names Jack. During their conversations, Mason reveals that he and Jessie's uncle served together in the Royal Marines. He discovers that Jessie is also good at chess and has finally found a worthy opponent. The wound on her leg has become infected, but he refuses to bring her to a hospital. Instead, he decides to head out himself to get what she needs, and this decision will abruptly change the course of both of their lives. He soon gets into the city and heads to a nearby pharmacy to get items, always keeping his back to the security cameras. Meanwhile in London, head of MI6 spymaster Manafort is facing a public hearing regarding a recent leak. Turns out MI6 has been running a secret intelligent gathering system called THEA, Total Human Engagement Analytics, which is being used by MI6, with authorization from Prime Minister Fordham, to gather illegal surveillance on British citizens. Manafort is adamant that Thea allows them to intercept threats to their national security, and the public should be thanking them. But the law is clear, and they want he and Fordham investigated and Thea shut down. In private, Manafort meets with Fordham. The leaks has brought them a lot of attention, and they need a sacrificial lamb to take the fall to appease the public. That sacrificial lamb will be Manafort, but this is all a cover as she wants him operating from the shadows running his Black Kite program, while his second, Roberta Frost, will take over MI6, just a puppet on their strings. Mason stops to get Jesse some clothes. He leaves, walking past a group of girls making a video, and just that split second of footage is picked up by Thea and flagged as high alert. Thea, however, incorrectly identifies Mason as Timur Chermoev, a wanted terrorist responsible for multiple bombings. Roberta decides to send in their MI6 Alpha team, unaware they have the wrong man. Mason returns to the lighthouse and treats Jesse's ankle, after which she gets changed into the clothes he bought, grateful for them. During dinner is when the vibe changes. Jack starts to whine. Mason, sensing danger, then spots a blackout vessel approaching the lighthouse. He tells Jesse to lock herself in the bathroom, grabs his coat and a blade, and heads out into the dark. The Alpha team lands and goes weapons free, but Mason is ready. He activates a trap, and a net drags one of the agents off into the sea screaming. After that, floodlights come on, rendering their night vision advantage useless. Mason has clearly been preparing for something like this. One agent sees movement and opens fire, so they think they have their target on the run and begin climbing up the cliff face, but the first agent there gets set on fire. The second gets baited to the cliff's edge and pushed over. The third guy actually gets to the lighthouse. He barges in, but Jack attacks him, and this agent makes a fatal mistake. He shoots the dog. The agent then finds Jesse and grabs her. Meanwhile, Mason is still taking out members of the Alpha team. He spots the man with Jesse and drops him with 2 well-placed shots. From here we realize that this old man wasn't just any government employee. The dead agent's camera briefly captures his full image before he takes the man's ammo and instructs Jesse to wait for him there. He stumbles upon Jack's body, which hits him hard as Jack was his only friend for a very long time.
Sorry, old boy.
He then makes a phone call before setting off in the boat with Jesse, leaving his old life behind. Roberta and the agents realize they're not dealing with Timur. This man is too skilled, so they decide to activate an MI6 assassin codenamed Workman with multiple QRF on standby. Mason and Jesse get to the mainland early the next morning. He was injured in the attack but claims he is fine. He sees a Jeep parked outside a home, but no keys inside, so he plans to break into the farmhouse and steal them. He leaves the rifle with Jesse, instructing her on how to handle it before breaking into the home, but there he stumbles upon a small boy. The boy's father then holds Mason at gunpoint, but Jesse turns up with the rifle aimed at him, ordering the man to help Mason with his injury. Roberta learns that the Timur profile is a very sophisticated digital mask to cover the identity of someone, whom they soon uncover as Michael Mason, former SBS operator, KIA 10 years ago, but nothing more as the rest of his file has been deleted. Someone is trying to frame Mason to be targeted, someone very powerful. They then intercept an emergency call from a farmhouse in Scotland, descriptions matching Mason and Jesse. Realizing he's one of their own, Roberta wants Mason brought in for questioning. Manafort realizes MI6 is investigating Mason and becomes worried. The workman is en route, so he sends a text. The workman should only answer to him, and he wants Mason and Jesse terminated on sight.
Fuck you, Mason.
Mason gets his injury stitched up and is prepared to leave, asking the man to hand over his truck. Just then the man's son confesses that he called the police. The home is quickly surrounded, and the cops are ordered to hold a perimeter. Mason tells Jesse to hide. He knows there's something else out there. The dad rushes out to the cops, but is quickly sniped by workmen, who then fires at the cop cars. The cops think their target in the home is shooting at them and barge in, but Mason goes non-lethal, taking them out. He disarms more cops outside and steals a car. So Workman packs up and gives chase. Roberta and MI6 are lost. Workman has turned off his comms, and they have no idea what is going on. Workman quickly catches up with Mason along a narrow dirt road. He lets off shots at the car, but Mason, with some expert driving, manages to stay ahead with Jessie hanging on for her life in the back. Workman catches up, hitting the car with more shots, but Mason maneuvers behind him, then hits his car, forcing it to flip multiple times. He doesn't stop to check and speeds off. Workman recovers, injured but still operational. He then shoots some responding cops dead before stealing a woman's car. Roberta relents and calls Manafort. Maybe he has the answers she needs. She asks about Mason and learns that he was a part of an off-book program of elite operatives called Black Kites, among which Mason was their best. He claims to believe Mason was turned after he spared a foreign intelligence officer he was sent to eliminate. He warns her that Mason is a dangerous assassin, and she needs to throw everything she has at him. Roberta ends the call but still feels Manafort is hiding something, so she has her tech girl dig up some old Black Kite files. There she finds out that Mason was helping an Iranian scientist defect after he gave up all his nuclear information. When the orders changed, Mason refused and disappeared. Watching Roberta uncover all this through secret cameras is Manafort. Mason and Jessie hit the road. She thinks she is grown enough to handle the truth about him, but he refuses to say. She asks about family, but Mason thinks having one would have complicated things for him. Jessie would rather be complicated and have her mom back, but Mason gives it to her straight. Life isn't always fair, but she should never let it break her spirit. She then pulls out a drawing he made of Jack, reminding him he forgot about the one family he had. They get to a small town. Mason instructs her on how to move to avoid the cameras, but one still picks them up. Manafort catches it first and deletes the alert, then sends the coordinates to Workman. Mason and Jessie walk to a church where they meet with Mason's contact Arthur, a former MI6 tech genius, who drives the two to his home. Mason wants a way out for Jessie. Arthur thinks he's gone sentimental, but to Mason, Jessie is just a kid who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It turns out Arthur helped to create Thea, which he still has access to, but before he left MI6 he swapped Mason's identity to an oil worker. Someone found out and changed it to Timur Chermoev, which automatically placed a kill order on Mason. Mason doesn't have to think twice. He knows it was Manafort, his former handler in the Black Kites, who still wants him dead after refusing the kill order. Mason figures Manafort knows about Jessie and sees her as a loose end, so he wants Arthur to look after her, but he can't. He has cancer and probably just one more Christmas to live. The news hits hard about his old friend. He has one more option though, Kamal Shah, a trafficker and former MI6 asset, and though he is dangerous, he has the means to move Jessie undetected. Jessie is mad after hearing he plans to leave her behind, but her safety is all he is thinking about. Suddenly, movement. Mason sends Jessie to hide and grabs a poker. It's Workman. Mason is waiting for him behind a door, but Workman shoots through the door. Mason evades and disarms him, and the two clash violently for a split second before pausing to take a seat. Workman grabs his blade, Mason grabs a wooden stake, and they clash once more, Mason's speed and power impressive for his age. Workman gets the upper hand, trying to stab Mason with a screwdriver, with Mason holding him off. Jessie holds Workman at gunpoint. Workman disarms her, but Mason shoots him with a nail gun, allowing them to escape. Arthur picks them up outside and they speed off, barely avoiding Workman's gunfire. He reports Mason's escape to Manafort, who decides to send it a team as backup. Arthur stops at an internet cafe from where he will guide Mason to Kamal, and Mason and Jessie hit the road once more. She wishes he had killed Workman, thinking maybe she is becoming like him, but Mason knows she is nothing like him. By tonight she will be safe, and Mason plans to disappear to another island. She doesn't want to be alone and wants to come with him, but Mason doesn't want her living like a fugitive. In order for her to be truly safe, he needs to put a stop to the people who are hunting them for good. Meanwhile, Roberta's tech girl has uncovered an unknown login to Thea, but has a plan to uncover who. By nightfall, Mason and Jessie get to the big city. They walk to a club where Mason purposely allows a camera to spot him before kindly asking the bouncers to take him to Kamal. Manafort catches the image, but when he tries to erase it, Roberta's tech catches the credentials and is shocked to see that it's Manafort. Mason finally gets to meet with Kamal, who who initially refuses to help Mason out. Mason reminds him that he has secrets for Manafort, and MI6 are sure to be on their way after the cameras out front caught him. Mason makes him a deal. If he helps Jesse, he will take care of Manafort for both of them. This seems to work, and Kamal invites them around back. Jesse still wants him to come with her. She thinks he is throwing his life away, but Mason doesn't think people like him get to live a normal life. She wants him to promise her that he will not die, but Mason cannot answer. Meanwhile, Roberta has a team rushing to the club, reminding them Mason needs to be taken in alive. Manafort also has a team on the way with orders to kill on sight. Kamal returns with a fake passport and cash for Jesse. They better hurry though, as the boat leaves in 20 minutes. Outside, Manafort's team arrives and enters the club. Roberta spots the team and urges her team to hurry to intercept. Mason picks out Manafort's team among the crowd before they spot him. Moving among the crowd, he begins taking out the men. They corner him, so he dips into the dressing rooms, engaging in a shootout with the men there. The men ambush Mason, one even stabbing him. He manages to kill the men, but Jesse is grabbed as the club erupts into chaos. Luckily, Arthur is tapped in and has eyes on Jesse. The men throw her into the back of a van, preparing themselves as they know Mason is on the way. Roberta's team arrives and tries intercepting him, but Mason skillfully pushes through them, leaving them with non-fatal injuries. For Manafort's men, Mason begins mowing them down with lethal force before getting to Jesse, who jumps into his arms. The workman arrives to see them leaving on a bike. Mason brings Jesse to the docks to meet up with Kamal's boat. Jesse still tries talking him into coming, tearfully confessing he is all she has now. She feels the need to save him, but Mason tells her she already did. Suddenly a gunshot rings out, so Mason throws Jesse into the boat. He and the workman then trade bullets until Mason runs out. He wonders if Workman even knows why he's doing this, but it doesn't matter to him. The two then clash for the second time. But Mason isn't holding back. He breaks Workman's arm, beats him down with a chain, and before breaking his neck with a metal pipe. With Jesse safe, he breathes a sigh of relief. A few days later, Manafort is at home. He sees his guards all dead outside before coming face to face with Mason inside his home. Manafort regrets losing his best assassin to his conscience, but Mason was tired of blind obedience. He tries to convince Mason to rejoin the Black Kites and work alongside him, but it's too late. Mason has heard enough and puts a bullet between his eyes, dropping him. Now a free man. In the end, MI6 is still tracking Jesse, hoping to use her to find Mason. They are watching her through a cafe camera when it moves, and they know it's Mason. Jesse then receives a package, a chess piece, and looks for Mason, but he has already disappeared. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe for more recaps just like this. And hey, don't click away just yet. YouTube thinks you'll love one of these two videos popping up right here, so check them out next.